devices.
And now, it's Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota and AGJ Systems and Networks on SuperTalk 103.1 FM.
Welcome to Coast Vue, the show that every single day celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such an amazing place to live, work, and play. Hey, look, without any further ado, I want to bring my partner in crime, Cal Curley, into the conversation. Two things I want to talk about. One is I checked some numbers on the Coast Vue site this morning. I want to share those and get Cal's reaction to this. And then secondly, he's fresh back from Jacksonville. I want to just talk real quick about the Saints game. But before we go any further, let me just say hello, Cal. How are you doing, buddy?
Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Dan did a good job in your stead. I trust that your trip back was incredible. But before we talk about the Saints game, let me share this. I went and looked at some numbers this morning on Coast Vue. This is the interaction that's happening with Coast Vue on Facebook. And reactions were up 331%, comments are up 400%, shares are up 500%, clicks up 125%, and the number of photo views is up 11,600. Well, the engagement is what's important. People are engaging in Coast Vue, and the radio numbers continue to be good. But it's great to get positive feedback from people, isn't it, Kyle?
It is. You just throw a topic out and let them decide for themselves. You give them the best information possible and let everyone have a voice and do it in a civilized way is what it's all about.
It really is. And, we're not a political show. We don't talk about the political situation. We talk about, in fact, if we do talk about anything as it relates to that, is how divided our world is these days and the role social media has played in that. But we, as it relates to issues, we'll dive in on issues from time to time. But most of the time, we're just celebrating what makes coastal Mississippi such a great place. And I'm privileged to have you as a partner on that journey, buddy.
I appreciate it. It's been fun. It's a great ride so far.
Well, you're back from Jacksonville. Did you have fun, buddy?
Yes, that was a very long 2-3 days. I forgot what the whole travel thing was like in, the post 9/11 world. It celebrated the 20-year, not really celebrated, but it was the anniversary. And, going through airports and stuff it's an ordeal.
It is, and the pandemic doesn't make it any easier. That's for sure.
No, I really find the whole masks and 6 feet apart, but once you're inside of a tube, I mean, you're packing 85 people into a plane. I know. It's one of those things that you just kind of think it's whatever.
I saw that Sean Payton gave a game ball to all the people involved in, the administration, the people who are involved in the logistics. We'll talk more. We're going to have the athletic director from Gulfport in the second half. We'll talk a little bit more about the game itself, but it's what you got to see was a well-oiled machine playing the music there in Jacksonville during the game, didn't you?
Yes, it was. What we tried to do was exactly what Sean was saying, was trying to take all of the distractions away and not give them an opportunity for an out. We made it as much of a home game as we possibly could without the roof and without the turf. It was natural grass, but on each end zone, you had Saints painted on it. You had the Fleur-de-lis at 50-yard line, and everything about it from the time the doors opened until the game was over with was a Saints home game. We had the majority of our game day staff. When I walked in on Saturday, it was just a handful of us. And then when I walked in Sunday game day, there were more people than I thought were actually coming all from down at the video side. And it's honestly people I only see when we go eat dinner because they're in a different room. But, in Jacksonville, we were all in the same room, and everybody, the only learning curve was, what do we call our, say, X Spider or gold or silver versus what they call it in Jacksonville. That was the biggest learning curve. And I kind of was going into it, a little timid at first, but once the first kickoff started, and, my part is to watch the play clock. We can't have anything in the PA after 20 seconds on the play clock. And no matter what, I found myself kind of really throwing my voice out there when we got close to it, and I wasn't involved in playing the music if it was coming from a different element, because I don't know what the sound guy he does. I don't know if he's waiting for somebody else, but I just started yelling like it was my own room. And at that point on, it was like, yep, this is a home game. It's our place.
Well, we'll talk more about the game here in just a second, but I'm glad you made it back safely, and look forward to hearing a little bit more. We'll see you after the in the second section. But let me move on now to my guest today, who's the mayor of the city of Gautier. He's got actually a great history as it relates to the city. But let me say good morning to Casey Vaughn. How you doing, Casey?
Good morning, Ricky. How are you?
I'm doing great. I've been really looking forward to having you on the show. We'll talk about some of the issues that you're facing, but man, love for Gautier goes a long way back in your family, doesn't it?
It does. The city being named after my great-great-grandfather, Fernando Upton Gautier, it's part of my family heritage, and it's an honor to be able to represent my family, who the city's named after.
Well, it's always interesting to get to know someone better. There are a lot of new mayors all along the coast, as you well know. You've got a really good crop of them now in Jackson County, and I've had the honor of talking to all of them and keeping up with what's happening. But you got to be thrilled that you've got a bunch of fellow mayors in your border cities who are just good people. They had a lot of success in their life, like you did. I mean, you were a lawyer, and you had this opportunity to come back and make a difference in the community. It's pretty cool, huh?
Well, and I'm not a lawyer. I'm a paralegal at a law firm that I've worked at for over 25 years. So didn't want to go to law school, but I'm honored to work with a wonderful group of attorneys here.
Yeah, it's interesting. You said you worked at that law firm, and it didn't say on the bio that you were a lawyer. In my mind, I took a leap of faith on that. Yeah. But anyway, you've had a long career, and you've worked with a terrific law firm at Cumbus Hunter and McCormick, and you find yourself in a great position where you didn't do it for the salary. You do it because you wanted to give back to the community.
That is correct. The salary is nothing. It don't even pay for your monthly gas bill to do city business. So you actually do it because you want to give back to the community and you want it to be the best. And in Gautier, it's sort of unique because we used to have many things that we don't have today when I was growing up, that we really want to be able to bring that kind of stuff back to the citizens of Gautier. And we are really, it is a thrill to be a part of it. And we're at our peak at the beginning of all that development, I feel. And it's just an honor to be a part of it and continue to be a voice for the young youth in our community, not just the older citizens, the senior citizens. They're wonderful, and I fought for amenities for them. I just think we need to cater to all residents of Gautier, not one particular group.
You know what's interesting? When you talk about, and I do all the time, the collection of communities that make up coastal Mississippi, people tend to think of Pascagoula and Ocean Springs and, Long Beach and Pasco Shannon, Bay St. Louis. They don't always mention Moss Point, which, and I'll come back to Gautier in just a second, but they don't mention Moss Point, which, if you think about strategic location of Moss Point and the riverfront and the opportunities it have, people thought of Moss Point sort of being this, where the paper mill used to be, and you could smell all that, but those days are long gone, and the opportunities for them as sort of this corridor coming from Mobile is incredible. People don't tend to think of this young city in Gautier, where you have this incredible, the beauty of the land that you have and the views that you have, the riverfronts and all the stuff that happens there, this opportunity and this new economy for young people to come there and live, who work maybe at Ingalls and the surrounding industries, or work over in Harrison County or wherever. Gautier's opportunities as a thriving city are pretty significant, aren't they?
They are. We have a lot of natural resources, I feel, that are sometimes under promoted. And that is our goal, is to start promoting, because just like you said in Moss Point, they have a lot of nature to promote. We both have I-10 corridors that are beneficial and are the gateway to Jackson County. You cannot get to Pascagoula without going through Moss Point or Gautier. So if you are employed at Chevron or the shipyard, you come through one of the sister cities to Pascagoula. So we are fortunate. We have a lot of natural resources. And one of our gems that we under promote also is Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. They are a big economic development driver here in our city.
Yeah, I know they are, and I talk about them all the time. We have great leadership to begin with. I'm a product of Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. You're a product of Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. I mean, look, first of all, the community college system in Mississippi is one of the strongest in the United States. And then Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College within that realm is often number one. So what that means is that Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College in Mississippi, and particularly here in coastal Mississippi, are some of the leading educational facilities in the United States. What they're doing with helping with education, what they're doing with helping people go to further their education at university, what they're doing as it relates to job training is really critical. When we come back, we'll continue that part of the conversation with the Mayor of Gautier, Casey Vaughn. We'll see you after this break.
Thank you.
Coast Vue on SuperTalk 103.1 is brought to you by J. Allen Toyota on I-10 exit 38 Gulfport. See all the incredible inventory at allentoyota.com. And remember, when you think Toyota, think J. Allen Toyota.
Hey South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport or on allentoyota.com.
If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
Thousands of Bulldog fans have subscribed to the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Have you? On each episode, Brian Haydad and Joel Coleman give you an inside look at your Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Thunder and Lightning podcast is free and available on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for Thunder and Lightning on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thunder and Lightning from SuperTalk, Mississippi, covering the Bulldogs like no one else. SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visits.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights. SuperTalk Mississippi. Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices. Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast Vue. You know, Casey, I've got Casey Vaughn, incidentally, the mayor of Gautier, is with us today. What I've noticed is that in every single case of the current crop of mayors we have here along coastal Mississippi, you find in their resume tremendous effort to give back to the community. They just are focused on giving back to the community. In your case, it's Rotary, it's Civitan, you've been involved in Heart Walk, and any number of things I'm sure that aren't even listed on your sheet. But you've always believed that giving back to the community was important, didn't you?
I have. I feel like that's what makes a community. Volunteerism, your community is not a community if you do not have volunteerism and give back to those organizations. And you don't really have to be a part of all of them. If you just pick, I encourage citizens to pick one nonprofit to get involved with, because that's what makes a community strong, and makes you be able to have those type of community events. The city cannot put on anything without some of those nonprofits supporting them.
I can't agree more. And what a great place to learn about what it takes to make a community tick. The people you get to associate with and be able to learn from them. You can't say enough good things about that. So, as you do your work, you've got a terrific city manager to work with. Tell me about Paula.
She's phenomenal. I would say she's one of our biggest assets. When we hired her, we knew we were getting a wonderful person that was educated, knew the government side of how to run the day-to-day operations of the city. Not only is she our city manager, she is, an attorney. So we sort of get, even though she don't play the attorney role, it really helps on the legal issues with the staff, and it relieves the attorney from having to do as much work sometimes, also having her there. But her connections that she has in Washington and Jackson has really been an asset, and that is how we're able to get a lot of the things done in Gautier currently.
I should have mentioned Paula Yancey. Paula Yancey, he's the city manager there in Gautier. So you guys are focused, as all the mayors along coastal Mississippi are focused on an infrastructure plan. That's super critical. And there are some exciting things happening as well over at the Singing River Mall property. So we have, infrastructure is not always sexy, but it is, if you're talking about greasing the skids for future development, you better be focused on it. Isn't that true?
That is correct. Infrastructure, as you said, is not sexy, and that's sort of how I use it. I talk about it and tell people up front, but we have aging infrastructure in Gautier that have been neglected for years. So we are able to do a new water tower, which is well needed to help with our economic development growth. When Paula came, we were in a moratorium, and now we're not. She helped get us out of that immediately so we can continue to build residential and economic development businesses in Gautier time onto the system. So the mall property, as you know, will be booming, and we will all need that infrastructure in place to handle the development there, and it will be ready to go. I think we're just fortunate as recently to get some federal funding to help, and also state funding in those issues to repair sewage lines, a new water tank, and all that in the city of Gautier.
So that's if you think about the strategic location of the old Singing River Mall. I mean, what an incredible strategic location. The opportunities there are tremendous. If you had to say, 10 years from now, someone's looking over there, what are they going to see? What's the vision for that once it's all said and done?
As I call it, the elephant. So talking about the elephant that we don't own yet. We don't own the elephant, but hopefully by October the 1st, we will close. And the envision is we will then start marketing the property. I envision it to be a mixed use, like a town center that we don't currently have, a downtown feel. So it will be like a mixed use development that will have some retail, some entertainment, some youth. It'll have the amphitheater, of course, is already being constructed in the northern part of the property to help spur the economic development on the Singing River Mall property.
Incredible opportunity there, man. I mean, look, I'm a big proponent of mixed use. I think that if you think about the new economy, which I talk about a lot, the young people, these are people who actually work in coastal Mississippi, and they want to sort of live, work, and play in an area that's very similar. They don't want to have to drive long distances, so they're very attracted to mixed use. And for people who forget what that is, this could be there are a lot of different gyrations, but just think of maybe a restaurant or some kind of commercial development down below, and up above you have apartments or condominiums or whatever it might be. All over the city of Pascagoula, you're seeing small developments that are occurring all downtown. I had the opportunity not long ago to go over to Page Roberts and take a look at that. But you're seeing a big discussion about that now. The other thing is that in the pandemic, there's this remote working opportunity now, and especially in the tech area, there are a lot of jobs today that are you can work for a company. Let's say you work for Amazon in Seattle, but you work out of Biloxi because technology allows you to do that. And young people will then start to pick the community they want to live based on the quality of life that they can achieve. And the kind of thing that you guys are thinking about there in Gautier will help you reach that goal, won't it?
Yes, it will. And it'll also partner and tie into the college. MGCCC Jackson County campus does not have any housing right now. So it will be able to include possibly a partnership with them to have some housing available to those students at MGCCC.
Yeah, like I was saying when we went to a break a few minutes ago, Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College what an incredible a partner to have. The work that they're doing in workforce development with Ingalls and other companies is just unbelievable. They listen to the business community. They understand the role they can play in economic development here in coastal Mississippi, really in South Mississippi. And frankly, they're always open. They can turn on the dime. They're always open to what the latest thinking is, and they can make adjustments based on that. But, for people who have not been to that campus, it's a pretty significant campus, isn't it, Casey?
It's a beautiful campus, and they continue to grow. The STEM building that they just recently done is another asset, and they just have so much growth that I think they're going to continue to do. Now you can attend there and get a 4-year degree. Is just phenomenal. When I was going to school, it was a 2+2 program. Well, now it's not 2+2. You can get it all right there at MGCCC. So students should take advantage of that. And I think we need to really encourage not only the young adults, but older adults that might want to go back. They could accomplish what they would like there, right in Gautier.
Well, Mayor Graham, who is the president of Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, she and I have been friends for a bunch of years, and she's been on the show many times. What impresses me about her and her team is they're always focused on developing the latest iteration of their strategic plan. They're really focused on the future, how Gulf Coast Community College can serve this community in way more ways than one. I mean, it's incredible. And it's a living strategic plan, so they're constantly making adjustments to it. Very, very, very smart about the approach they take. And you're lucky to have one of their main campuses right there in your backyard. And the opportunity, you're right. I mean, I didn't think too much about this, but literally across the street would be this incredible development that would be part of, the old Singing River Mall property. It is incredibly well located, isn't it?
It is, and it will all be tied together, with the sidewalks and everything. It will tie into MGCCC right there in that corridor. Everything will be a downtown feel. So to feel like you're on a real 4-year college campus eventually, right there in Gautier, hopefully.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's come back to you for a second. You're settling into your role. How often do you wake up and say, well, I'm actually the mayor of this city? How tell me about that.
Well, being a councilman for 8 years, I feel like, and I already represented more than Ward 3. I always helped anybody who reached out to me. So it sort of feels like I was a councilman, but now I just preside over the meeting and attend a few more meetings. But it's an honor and a privilege to be the person who is able to accept the awards, present the awards, and be all their voice and communicate with the board. And when I wake up every morning, I just pray for our city employees, especially right now during the pandemic. We have a lot out from either some have COVID, some have exposure. And I just want our city to bloom. You know, we are at I call it, it's our time. And it's our time to show off. And we should be proud of what we have accomplished and what we have going forward.
Well, I know you are. I know you are. There are so many opportunities for that wonderful city. And I'll make sure it stays part of the conversation, and we'll have you back time and time again, Casey. I really appreciate you spending some time with me this morning.
Thank you for having me.
It's been my pleasure. This is the mayor of the city of Gautier, Casey Vaughn, and we'll be back to him in a month or so. Just check in and see how things are going. Take care. When we come back, we have a special guest, the athletic director for the city of Gulfport. We'll see you after this.
Listen live or on demand and watch episodes of Coast Vue on your laptop, desktop, or on your phone or tablet by going to supertalkmsgulfcoast.com.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen. Okay. Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, South Mississippi, the future has arrived. It's 2021, and at J. Allen Toyota, we're here to serve you. Want to let you know that we have Allen's lifetime warranty on every new Toyota we sell. That also comes with Toyota Care. That's 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. We have a great rental department. Our service department's ready to take care of your current vehicle. We're rolling out J. Allen certified pre-owned for 2021. You got to come to I-10 exit 38 right here in Gulfport. You're going to love what we have to offer. When you think Toyota, think Allen Toyota.
What decisions are being made by state lawmakers, and how will they affect you, your family, and community? If you listen, you'll know. SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk app, and at supertalk.fl.
Hi, I'm Billy Kinder, host of Big Billy Kinder Outdoors here. The show Saturdays at 1, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Turkeys, whitetail, Grenada Lake crappie, or Gulfport redfish. We enjoy it all, especially when you're in camp with us on SuperTalk Mississippi.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking very hard-to-find PPE items to make our community a safer place. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. They were even sending thousands of dollars of PPE supplies free to local schools in need with help from other local business leaders. The next time your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider a local company that supports your ball teams, cheerleaders, and area homeless. Consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply, the local guys that keep your prices fair, your service and selection excellent, and your health our business. Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visit.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer, songwriter. Has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because, I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard. And,
Wow.
All this stuff was going on at the same time. / I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show. Every day, we're driving the debate in America with the fastest moving, hardest hitting, most comprehensive, fact-based commentary on the radio. We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth. Our show is a meeting place of ideas. We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Weeknights at 9
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show
on Super Talk Mississippi. Super Talk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on Super Talk Mississippi.
And now, it's Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota and AGJ Systems and Networks on Super Talk 103.1 FM.
Welcome back to Coast Vue. I really enjoyed that conversation with the mayor of the city of Gautier, Casey Vaughn. We'll work harder to make sure that Gautier is part of the conversation. What a unique and special community that is, and so many opportunities for the future. I'm really looking forward to continuing my conversations with Casey. So now let's move over to Bryan Caldwell. He's the director of athletics for the Gulfport School District. I said city of Gulfport going into the break. Obviously, I made a mistake. I realized it as we were beginning to get into the break. But anyway, good morning, Bryan. How are you?
Good morning, Ricky. I'm doing well. Pleasure to be with you.
It's good to see you again. You've been on the show before. You're a fan of the show, and I appreciate you listening. Hey, let's do this. Let's bring Kyle into the conversation because I've really been looking forward to having a chat with you this morning because we'll find out the latest within your realm of responsibility these days. But what I want to do is I want to spend just a little bit of time talking about the Saints game over the weekend. Kyle, we'll come back to you and get your general impressions. But first of all, Bryan, how do you read what you saw Sunday?
That was one of the best team victories in professional sports I've ever seen. It reminded me of what high school and college teams do when they play for one another. No one cares who gets the credit. It was a brilliant job by Coach Payton, and just everyone playing their role and pulling for one another. There don't appear to be any prima donnas on that team. And I was just so impressed. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, well, it was. I had a sense from mine and Kyle conversation with Jeff Duncan from NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune, both on the air and off the air, that, he says, man, I hope I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid, but it's unbelievable how focused this team is. And if they shore up in a couple of areas, which they've done, they could be scary. This defense could be scary. Kyle, what's your read on what we saw?
Pretty much the same thing. That defense could be really scary. When I watch a game, I watch it differently. I watch it from my responsibility on game days kind of point of view. And I didn't really get to see a whole lot of it until yesterday after I got home. I was able to sit down and I watched the first half. And that, watching it on TV versus watching it at the game with my responsibility hat on, two different experiences. And what I saw yesterday, even just watching the first half, that's one team all on the same page, all rooting for each other, all having each other's back. And like Caldwell says, that's probably one of the best team efforts that I've seen in a very long, long time.
So let's break it down for a minute. First of all, unbelievable leadership from Coach Payton, not just to get the team prepared, but think about it. They had to move over to Dallas in advance of Hurricane Ida. They had to train there. They had to pick where they were going to play, the thoughts that they went through to pick where they were going to play. They drew from the Katrina experience to say, we can't let some of those things happen. They go over there and play. He gives a game ball to all those people who are involved in logistics and support. What a phenomenal job of keeping that team focused, Bryan.
Yeah, Ricky, it's amazing that sometimes adversity will sharpen your focus. And it gives the team a little bit of a foxhole mentality when they know they have to lean on one another. And it just was the perfect formula for success in this particular situation. Sean Payton's not just a great football coach, he's a great leader of men. And that's what we need right now.
It is. Hey, Kyle, being close to it, are people in awe of how Sean and the team leaders kept everything organized and focused so that you could have it be as much like a home game as possible?
From the people that I'm in contact with, I think they were all, I don't want to say if they were surprised. I think they just expected it, because I think they see it more than I do.
Yeah.
There have been people, when everyone evacuated from New Orleans pre-Ida, when they all figured out that their house was still there, what the situation was in New Orleans, and once the decision was made to be in Jacksonville, there was a team of people in Jacksonville working out of their offices all week long. So they were 100% focused on the task at hand, and that was the Sunday game. So wow. I don't think anybody there, I don't think I could really get an honest answer from them, because they see it every day and it trickles down because they have the same attitude as well. I showed up Saturday for a run through and it was a well-oiled machine by the time I got there, and you could tell they'd been there. So
well, I watched this morning the post press conference with Jameis Winston, Demario Davis, of course, Sean Payton, and also Juwan Johnson. And I want to break them down for just a little bit. Let's go to Jameis Winston. People who have not paid attention to what the coach and Drew Brees and others were doing to prepare Jameis Winston for this quarterback competition that we saw this year, as Jeff Duncan puts it, to get his PhD in football, in offensive football. He was calm, he was cool, he was focused, he was collected, he was humble. You said that just a second ago, Bryan. But Jameis Winston, if he can keep that head on him, like what we saw both before, during the game, and then after the game, man, I say their rehab project has been moving in the right direction.
Well, most games are lost before they're ever won. And what Jameis has learned in the last year, I think, is to stop doing the things that lose. And the influence of Coach Payton, and especially the influence of Drew Brees, is going to make a huge difference in his career. And I thought he was fabulous Sunday, and I expect him to play like that most of the year.
That's incredible. Any comment about Jameis, Kyle?
Yeah, I agree. It's a total transformation from the last time we really saw him in the spotlight back in the Tampa days. He was immature. And I think the time away from being that starting quarterback and the time that he spent last year with Sean Payton, with Drew Brees, and with Taysom Hill alongside, he's grown up a lot, and he realizes that this is the best opportunity that he could ever have placed himself in going forward. And the amount of, I guess, self-awareness on his part that he's taken into it, his growth has been so exponential. It's going to be terrific going forward.
What I like about it, though, is, Jeff Duncan talks about the system, but part of the system is a culture, and it's a culture that's based on humility and based on team. And as you pointed out, Bryan, they don't want any prima donnas. They're literally testing people for character. They want speed, they want intelligence, they want talent, but they want the ability to work inside the system. And they've let some really, really good players go, or never really attracted them to the team because they didn't feel like they were going to be a good fit with the team. One of the people, let's go to Demario Davis for a minute. You watch him on the field, watch him run around. He's so excited, whatever. But when you see him talk when he's not on the field, he's just like really smart, calm leader, man. One of the things he said, I thought was really powerful. He said, to whom much is given, much will be required. That's Luke 12:48. And when that passage is about wisdom. It's about we're being held responsible for what we have. And Demario Davis is right. They've been blessed with a lot of talent, a lot of knowledge, and the time to give back. But at the end of the day, what Luke is telling us is that we have a burden to carry, that we have a requirement to give back. When you look at this game and how it played out within the context of what about the New Orleans region and southern parts of Louisiana are going through as it relates to Hurricane Ida, they were able to always say not just the game, but their leadership within the guise of Hurricane Ida. And to me, that was so impressive. And to see Demario Davis talk about the responsibility he felt, man, they mean it when they talk in those terms, don't they, Bryan?
Yeah, I'm a huge Demario Davis fan, the pride of Brandon, Mississippi, and Brandon High School. And whenever the message is singular, like it was this weekend, they understood that they were playing for more than themselves, that it was bigger than that they were playing for South Louisiana. But again, that starts at the top with Coach Payton, and I can guarantee you that was emphasized all week. And I was really proud of that team, not just as a fan, but of somebody that lives in the Gulf South.
So Kyle, when you're around your cohorts in the Saints organization, you sense that people like Demario Davis and coming on strong, Jameis Winston and other leaders of this team are really in touch with each other, don't you?
Yeah, we really get that impression, all the way through for the most part. I can't really remember any particular instance where there was just that one lone wolf. I think, it kind of goes back to the culture that Sean Payton has instilled for his entire time that he's been here and what he's been creating. And I think all of those past years' experience have boiled down to what we saw on Sunday. And man, look out. That team keeps it up for the next 2 weeks and then return home in New Orleans, October 2nd or 3rd, that weekend against the Giants. Can you imagine what that dome is going to be like then?
Well, I also, by the way, I also watched the post press conference with Kamara, and he's so smart. I've enjoyed reading about how he's just very intelligent person. And he's almost matter of fact about one game down, we got to go to the next game. Every day, we're always trying to improve, and he says all the right things. But man, what a gifted young man he is. And last I want to mention is Juwan Johnson. He won the practice squad last year. They moved him from receiver to tight end. And man, you talk about an opening game. This guy played unbelievably well. But one of the things he did, and we're coming to the end of the break, and we'll talk about this part of it, and then we'll move on and see what's going on in your world these days, Bryan. But what he talked about was that he went over to Tampa. He said, I went over to Jameis Winston's crib in Tampa. And what you saw on the field was something that we worked on all summer long. We worked on, and we were just executing what we had just been working on all summer long. Apparently, Jameis Winston has this incredible rigor that he does, and getting ready to work with his receivers in the season. And to hear Juwan Johnson talk about that specifically, it just tells you once again that the key to success is getting in the trenches and burning the midnight oil. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Bryan Caldwell.
You can also listen live to Super Talk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on your Amazon Alexa devices. Once you've enabled the skill, just say, Alexa, open Super Talk Mississippi Gulf Coast.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi. Thousands of Bulldog fans have subscribed to the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Have you? On each episode, Bryan Haydad and Joel Coleman give you an inside look at your Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Thunder and Lightning podcast is free and available on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for Thunder and Lightning on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thunder and Lightning from SuperTalk Mississippi, covering the Bulldogs like no one else.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We're talking to Del Berra. Take me back to growing up and what it was like in the household with a dad like Yogi Berra.
You know, we grew up with his funny sayings. You know, I remember Dad managing the Mets, and me, Larry, and Timmy are watching the game on TV. And all of a sudden, two streakers run out of the stands on TV, and the camera flips away from them. So when he gets home, me, Larry, and Timmy say, "Hey, Dad, those streakers, what were they, boys or girls? We need to know." And Dad looked us right in the eye and said, "I couldn't tell. They had bags over their heads."
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. It's great to have people like Jeff Duncan on every Friday. He wrote for The Athletic, but he really cut his teeth working for NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. I'm thrilled that he's back there. He's on the NFL selection, Hall of Fame selection committee. He's covered the Saints longer than anyone else. Great to have him. And it's great to have my producer, Cal Curley, who plays the music in the Superdome during the home games for Saints games, and his insights are really interesting. And when you have, people like Bryan Caldwell, who've been in athletics their whole career and had so much success, and now is the athletic director for the Gulfport School District. I mean, you can't help. I mean, we're going to find out what the latest is there, but it's great to touch base with people like Bryan and see what he thinks. But when you look at these undrafted free agents that they've picked up, someone like this tall, incredibly powerful receiver in Juwan Johnson, to see this project that everyone was talking about and then see how good his hands were and how tall, how much he can get up there. They're now calling him Baby Megatron, which I think is pretty cool. But, what did you think about his performance?
I thought he was fantastic. I remember him a little bit from last year when he was still playing wide receiver. But this is a testimony to Mickey Loomis and Jeff Ireland, because they identify these diamonds in the rough that are undrafted. I think the Saints have 14 undrafted free agents on their roster. The defensive tackles, the backup guard that came in whenever the center went down and Ruiz had to move over. They just plug and play these guys who are unheralded. They just play ball, and it's really exciting for where the Saints are headed.
And from your time as a coach, and you've made a career out of this, the amount of moving pieces and the way you have to project plan all this, and the way you have to be aware of the depth, and the way you have to evaluate talent. Lord have mercy. This is a science, man. These guys are running this like a mathematics lab. I mean, they're really serious about it. And then there's great leadership that's involved as well. Hey, let's shift gears now. What's it like these days in the pandemic being an athletic director?
Well, people ask me that a lot, obviously, and I just tell them it's going as well as could be expected. We are conducting school and we're playing ball in a global pandemic. So I'm proud of that. Last year, we were flying blind. There was no blueprint. And we had a good bit of guidance from the governor's office with regard to like capacity at events and things like that. We had some guidance from the Mississippi High School Activities Association. This year, we felt like we'd be over this by now, but here we are right back in the same circumstance. But the governor has backed off and pretty much left the rulemaking, if you will, up to the local school districts. So using last year's experience, we are progressing, and it's going fine. The single biggest obstacle is still having to work through quarantine situations within your school or on your team. But we have a weapon this time, and that's the vaccine. And our football team, we have 80 kids on the team, give or take, and roughly 50 of them have been vaccinated. So that pretty much makes us quarantine proof. We don't feel like we'll have to forfeit any games. And I'm really pleased about that. And I feel like we'll get our season in.
Yeah. So if you let's stick on the football theme for a second, what do you look for out of your team this year?
I like our team. We're kind of junior heavy. A lot of our best players are juniors. We played a really tough schedule so far. Game 1 in the Port City Bowl, we beat a good Pearl team 13-12. Week 2, we went to Pensacola and played Escambia High School. That's the home of Emmitt Smith. And we were down 14 in the fourth quarter, tied it late, lost in overtime, a tough loss, but a real valiant effort. And then we played an always tough Picayune team this past Friday at Milner Stadium. We were down 7 with the ball in the fourth quarter, threw a pick 6, lost by 14. So we're 1-2. And to quote Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are. But we're playing good people, and we're playing another good team this Friday night in Germantown up in Madison County. And we think this makes us battle tested for the season that really starts when you get to region play in a few weeks.
Tough teams, man. I mean, it's a lot like college. You have a choice. You can play some tough teams and get you ready for your conference play, or you can play some not so tough teams and not really be ready. But you guys stepped up to the plate in a big way, didn't you?
We did. We believe in the former, as you described it. Iron sharpens iron. You don't get better playing bad teams, and that's John Archie, our head coach's philosophy, and I'm glad that that's how we roll.
Albert Hubbard said this once. He said, the greatest mistake you can make in life is continually fearing that you'll make one, that you'll make a mistake. When you hear that, what does it mean to you?
I think too oftentimes coaches schedule not to lose instead of to win the ultimate prize. And we have a hard time getting games because people don't want to play Gulfport because we're good and they're afraid they might take a loss. But that's just not how we look at it. We like to play good people. That's why you lift the weights and do all the work in the summer, and that's what it's all about.
Well, you've had a lot of success in your career, but one of the things I'm going to commit to you, Bryan, is that we'll have you on more regularly, particularly during the Saints season. It's fun to kind of look back, so we'll get a chance to look back and look forward to the next game with Jeff Duncan, and from time to time we'll bring you in and get your unique perspective as a coach, as an athletic director, as just a fan, somebody who watches the game with an interesting perspective on maybe some details that we might miss since we don't have that coaching experience. I appreciate you listening to the show and being on the show, and we look forward to talking to you next time.
Thank you, Ricky. I'd love to be a part. As you said, I'm a big fan. Look forward to it.
I appreciate it, man. This has been Bryan Caldwell from the Gulfport School District, athletic director there. When we, we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll continue to celebrate Coastal Mississippi. Have a great day.